And we are live. We are joined here today with the one and only Dave Buzan. Buzan? Or how do you say your last name?
Buzan.
Buzan. Okay. Probably
Yeah,
should have asked that before we went live.
that's
Yeah, we
okay.
had that extra minute there, and we jumped in early without finding out that important piece of
That's
information.
okay. Thank you, though.
But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are a published author.
Yes, thank you.
And where are you calling in from?
From Kaiser, Oregon, which is just outside of Salem, about 30 miles south of Portland.
Okay, well, it's only 5 p.m. out there, which is why you still have sunshine behind you, which is nice.
Yes, Oregon sunshine, overcast all day.
Could be worse, right? I mean, it could
Absolutely. Yeah.
pissing down rain or snow, or something like
Or
that.
it could be Nevada.
Or it could be, but it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
People always say that's the dumbest thing ever. But, yes, you're absolutely right, EL. But now, when you say publish, Mike, you said that like Dave is someone different here. We have an actual published author on the show as opposed to all the other folks that we have on who.
I try to do a different intro each time, and mine sort of blanked, so I went with that.
Okay, all right. Look at this, wearing a John Carpenter shirt. Oh, okay, is that like the guy from the movie series?
Music
Yeah,
by. Yeah.
He's a big director, but he's also a composer of his own pictures, and so he's just one of my favorite composers.
Oh, I thought it was a character from a show. Sorry.
Yeah, no, he's great. I'm a film score aficionado, fanatic, so that's primarily all I listen to.
Well, let's
Okay,
start
well,
there,
you
Mike.
two have fun chatting.
Let's wait there. We'll wait for everybody to get in here then. So, what is your favorite film score? Sorry, what's your favorite film score of all time then?
Actually, it's Rambo: First Blood Part 2 by Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah, you see, I can't remember the music to that because there should never have been a Rambo Part 2 because the book Rambo,
Yeah.
he dies at the end.
First Blood is my favorite.
Spoiler.
Novel. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
aware.
that's been out for a long ass time. I think
50 some odd years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, spoiler time on that is well past. But yeah, so
that's the Rambo theme by Jerry Goldsmith. That's my favorite movie theme. I mean, people love Star Wars and Jaws, and so do I. But it's actually the Rambo theme that's my favorite. And
I'll have to find it, listen to it, and refresh my memory on what it sounds like.
okay,
Because I cannot. It's one of those movie themes that you never write. I mean, people say Rocky and things like that, and it just comes into your head. Right, but not that one.
if you're familiar with the films, when you refresh yourself with the theme, you'll remember it. You'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember this."
All right, I'm gonna.
It's played quite frequently
Right.
throughout the movie.
Rambo 2 theme.
Yeah, Rambo. He did the first 3 films: Rambo 3, First Blood, and Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
All right, I will do that homework and look that up, and we're going to ask Mike if he has done any of his homework for 2026 and watched any of those 12 movies he's been assigned.
I've seen 2.
Which 2?
13th Warrior and Godzilla -1.
2 great movies. Speaking of Jerry Goldsmith, he did the score for 13th Warrior as well.
13th Warrior I had problems with, but it was okay. Godzilla -1, when I started watching, I really hated it, but I was also exhausted and didn't want to put in the mental energy. So when I rewatched it, I was like, okay, it's a good movie. So
It is.
that's the best bets of the 2 movies I've watched so far of my homework. And I'm pretty sure they'll both be better than 50 freaking Shades of Grey. Thank you, Timothy Wolf.
I was going to ask if that was next on your list.
No, that is Plan 9 from Outer Space is my next.
All right, is that the MST3K version?
Yes.
All
So
right.
that might end up being my favorite.
That might be a fun watch.
Got to get your Ed Wood movies in there.
But we're not here to talk about MST3K or Mike's horrible list because he doesn't watch movies of any renown. He hasn't watched Ratatouille, Dave.
Oh,
So I told these people who are supposed to be my friends that I don't watch animated movies, and I haven't since the 90s. So 3 of the 12 that I'm supposed to watch are now animated.
Ratatouille is a damn masterpiece.
It's also not on my list.
Yeah, and I saw Hoppers recently, and that's a great one as well.
I've heard that's really good, actually.
Yeah.
Do you have young kids?
I don't. Yeah, I just like movies. So usually every week I'm going to see something new.
No, I heard that's good. I'm glad to hear somebody else say that that's good.
Yeah.
I have to go check that out because I quite like a lot of animated movies, funnily enough.
So, and I agree with EL here. As long as you're not a teenager or older, there's nothing wrong with animated movies.
Dude, when Wile E. Coyote versus Acme comes out, I am in that theater.
Well, I mean, I might be for that. I might break my rule.
August, that comes out. I'm so excited.
August?
Yeah.
Outstanding.
And I was going to ask if anybody had seen Project Hail Mary.
I saw it last week. It was really good.
Man, what's your movie budget, dude?
Well, I do the Regal Pass, so I just pay a subscription every month, and as long as you see 2 movies a month, it pays for itself.
Oh, that's not bad then.
That's
it's
not
just
an
the popcorn fees that get you. Like a bucket of popcorn for $12. Hell.
Yeah, that gets you.
Yeah. But so what you writing?
I'm currently working on a book called Suspension, which is just an action thriller set in 1990. So that's my latest one. That'll be out in November.
Oh, so the late 20th century.
Yeah.
As the kids would say nowadays.
Yeah.
Way back in the 20th century?
Yeah, I can't believe that, the year I graduated from high school is considered a historical thriller these days.
It's sad, isn't it? It just gets worse.
Yeah.
It does. I have my 40th high school reunion coming up this year. It's just like, oh my God. I remember when my parents went to their 40th high school reunion. What the hell?
So,
well, hold on. Sorry. Lucas, what's that about? I don't know if he justified it or not, because obviously you got it too late, my friend.
Just slightly.
Okay, the things you learn on Bald&Balding.
One day your son might come across this as like, hey, that's me. But you're working on that book, and we will talk about the book you're working on.
Yes, okay.
But let's talk about the books that you already have. And folks, if you haven't seen this, you're probably one of the few people who haven't, because it has well over 500 reviews or not reviews, the other things.
Ratings,
right? With over 300 reviews, but over 500 ratings on Amazon. And it's still well into the 4s, which is pretty damn good. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this? That's a really cool cover, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. That cover was designed by David King from Black Rose Writing, my publisher. And the funny story for me about this was his first draft of it did not look like this. So it had John, the hero, jumping over a log with kind of a grin, and it looked like a young adult / anime type story. So it just kind of didn't let you know the action or horror elements inside at all. So it was quite a process to get this cover here. So I was really happy with the end result. I got to meet him a few months later and shake his hand and thank you.
Yeah, that is quite the cover.
Yep.
I bet that in and of itself creates many a buys just because of that.
Yeah, when I'm at in-person events, the banners and stuff for the cover gets people to the table for sure. People interested. Yeah, absolutely.
What's the big furry thing behind your character there?
Yeah, that would probably be the only thing I would change, to be honest. I get a lot of people asking me if it's a werebear and those kinds of things. Actually, the monster is a man-eating Sasquatch. So it doesn't quite look like that. It's not described that way. But given how difficult it was to get to this particular cover, I was, as immediately as I saw it, I said sold, because I was actually more concerned about how Jalon Winterhawk, the hero, was looking, and he just did that fantastically. So,
yeah.
See, when I look at that, my first feeling is, okay, he's obviously a Native American. Is that like his like a representation of his like spirit animal or something like that. See, I don't look at that as a real creature, but more of a manifestation of something inside of the character.
For sure. Yeah, I can see that.
But you're saying it's a real creature.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
The plot is a Native American Civil War veteran who's battling a unit of Army traders and a legendary monster in 1873 Southern Oregon. So that's the elevator pitch for it. So the monster, there's actually two of them, and they're ferocious man-eaters. I have a lot of great monster mayhem intersped through everything. So, yeah, it's a fun story to do.
Yep, I can confirm. I just finished your book. I told you off the air, finished it last night. So, yeah, there's a lot of action. If you like action, you will not be disappointed.
Monster Mayhem is not a bad tagline.
No.
No, I wanted to do a 80s action movie on the page. So that was my intent with this whole story. The stunts of a James Bond movie, the Arnold Schwarzenegger quips. I have the action sequences out of Die Hard. And just kind of in the center have this like spiritual, pretty moral character dealing with everything. So that was also fun to explore.
How'd you land on a Native American as your main character?
Well, it was in October of 2020, and I was at lunch at work, scrolling through my phone, and I came upon an article in the Oregonian, which is our big newspaper here, and it was mentioning that the Nez Perce tribe had finally reclaimed their land in Eastern Oregon. And I think that was an amazing story. But in that article, there was a throwaway line that said 250,000 Native Americans served in the Civil War. And I didn't realize that. So it immediately put me on a little rabbit hole of trail of trying to do some research. So as soon as I was doing some research on this and found out that these Native American soldiers faced even worse racism when they came back from the war with their own tribe for serving, I thought, boy, that's a great character. Talk about a guy that wears a uniform to fight for one thing, but his own people feel he's being betraying them. So that was the genesis of the character.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting dichotomy for that, because you got someone there who, just like African Americans and Native Americans, Japanese Americans in World War II, right? Who, served incredible things, and yeah, they kind of got one foot on either side, and getting hammered from both sides.
Yeah.
That creates some interesting dilemmas for your character there.
Yes, and the more research I did about it, it's about 3 months of research before I started writing, and it's just fascinating. So certainly the book that it is now is absolutely not the book that I set out to write in any shape or form. So the more research I found, the more I talked to different people and met different people about it, then the more the story kind of progressed from there. So the original title was Gigantor, because I wanted a sort of Predator, Aliens, Leviathan 80s title. And so that was originally my intent, is just more of a monster, or almost like a Predator type. But the more I got into this character and the more I got into the history of it, then the more it just kind of branched out to being more of an adventure book.
So, Dave, I got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
One, when you were doing your research, maybe I'm just weird. Well, I am weird. But anyway, in this aspect, when I'm doing research for a book, that is my absolute favorite part. It's better than the writing. It's better than the editing. It's better than figuring out the cover. If I could just research the whole time and not have to write and still get paid for that, that'd be like my dream. How about you? Is research, do you get a kick out of doing that and you just want to keep going deeper, or are you normal?
No, I'm definitely not normal with that. I absolutely love research. I probably do too much of it, if you can say that.
No such thing.
Yeah. So it's just something from my screenwriting days where I would just spend months and months researching things before I started writing. It's just how I tackle everything. And The Lair of Legends was my debut novel, so I'd never written one before. And so it's how much research do I need? How much do I need to put down? but I cannot begin writing without research of some kind.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah.
Now, you said your screenwriting days. So,
I graduated from the Vancouver Film School in 1994, and pretty much all of my 20s and 30s were spent in the screenwriting world in some capacity. I was lucky to have 3 agents during that time. I had 2 scripts optioned. We had a lot of close calls, just an incredible journey. But it just ended with creative heartbreak. And in fact, I actually walked away from creative writing for a decade before I wrote this book.
At least you have a little more control with book publishing over screenwriting. Yeah.
It's kind of dealing with agents and so on. It's certainly something I didn't want to do when I was writing my book. I knew I wanted to go to a publisher, but I didn't want to go through the whole process that I'd been doing for 20 years before. So it's a little different. I like the grime and the grittiness of writing a book compared to the screenwriting. So they're both completely different. They're both fascinating art forms, but they are so remarkably different. So when I was first starting to write my book, I had to just tell myself, I can put more details down. I can explain more, because in screenwriting, it's all about, you don't want to be too on the nose, they call it. And it's all about, you want to show and don't tell. And I know a lot of that is in books too, but in books, you can just, like one of my action scenes goes on in the sequel for almost 40 pages. Right?
Oh my God.
In the book, right? It's just an extended. In the first book, the opening action sequence goes on for at least that long, maybe a little longer. So in a book, I'm able to explain that over 40, 50 pages. But in a movie, in a script where 1 page equals a minute, you just want to get going. So it's more brief. So that was a good like pull.
So from in that part of your life, then, when people write books, you always hear people say, well, who would play so-and-so in a movie? How do books get picked up to become movies?
Well, a lot of times it's producers. There's executive producers out there in the age of like Alfred Hitchcock, who's my favorite director, by the way. But his assistants would always look for the brand new bestsellers. Psycho was picked that way. Great books for him to adapt into movies. And today it's not any different. They're looking for marketability and sales and IPs and all those things.
Yeah.
But I wish I had the magic today to get my books out there to, I think mine would make great films. I know a lot of authors, we say that, but mine would be great adventure pictures, I think.
Yours are very visual. I mean, when I listen to it, because I don't read but hardly ever, but I mean, I could see it where I was driving on the interstate, and I was like, okay, yeah. I also see the cars, but I could see it in my mind's eye what was happening.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
And my second question that I forgot to ask you is that for your second book, is this Jolan's daughter?
Yeah, that's Chenoa, the one that was 6 years old in the first book.
Yep.
Yeah. So now this one's set 30 years later, and she leads the adventure.
Because when I finished your book, before I'd finished, I'm like, who is the person on the second book? Who? And then I got to the end of yours, like, okay, that's his daughter. I understand now.
Mike.
What?
Well, now he lives through the book, and he has a kid.
Well, he had a kid before the adventure started in the first book.
All right.
Yeah, I had I known the book would have been received like it was. It's not that I wrote it not expecting it to do well, something like that. It was something very personal I had to do to get this book out. So had I known, I had a crystal ball and seeing some of the success and some of the reader fans, I kind of shot myself in the foot with the first book because I made sure that his journey was over and there was no sequel. It's done. And there's like 2 paragraphs. If I could erase from the first book, I would, just so I could continue. So approaching the sequel, which is not something I planned to do or wanted to do, it took a long time for me to get there. what's it going to be? What's it going to be about? How can I write it without him? So it was a challenge. It was my Drago from Rocky IV. Doing In the Wrath of Legends was the hardest creative thing I've ever done in my life, ever. Yeah, it was a foe that I just didn't think I could conquer sometimes.
Well, it looks like you conquered it pretty well.
I do love it. I do love the second book. A year ago, if you asked me that, I wouldn't have had that answer. It just seemed every day was a challenge. And my wife would like to say that there was sometimes if I just wrote my name down, David Buzan, she said, "Oh, you would say it doesn't look right." You would delete it. Oh, that can't be really my name, because you would get into. I just got into that whole self-doubt and the second book syndrome that way. Yeah.
Yep.
You wouldn't be a writer if you didn't.
I guess so.
No. And you know what? It doesn't go away.
I'm on the third book and it's just the same. Yeah.
You got that to look forward to when just every time you put one out, it's like, really?
Yeah.
You said a lot of the research you did was based on the Nez Perce. Is your character specifically Nez Perce, or is it kind of an amalgamation of all the native tribes?
No, he's a Nez Perce. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just because that was the article that spawned the whole idea. That was what I wanted him to be. Now, technically, there wasn't really any Nez Perce in the fighting in the Civil War in the capacity that I said he was. So I did that, and I fictionalized that aspect of it. But I wanted to make sure that the Nez Perce was the tribe I was representing in this and the sequel.
Were you able to talk to any members of the tribe to kind of get their thoughts on it?
Not in the Nez Perce, but the Chamala Indian tribe here in the local area, and some other tribal members in different tribes. So I was able to do that. I was actually inducted into the Chamala Indian tribe in 2017 as an honorary member.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So it was a very nice honor. I'm known as White Elk.
Let's hope that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's coming up next for you then?
Well, my third book, I'm currently finishing up, and that's due to my publisher this summer, and it'll be out in November. So it's a standalone thriller set in 1990, Gold Beach, Oregon. And speaking of Japanese Americans, that's actually who the hero is. He was born in a Japanese American internment camp here in Oregon in 1943. So I'm kind of dealing with that. He's 47 now, and like you said, a foot in kind of both worlds there.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been digging into that little sordid bit of our history?
Yes. Yeah. So that was, a lot of research and as well before I started writing this one. But this is a more streamlined. I'm definitely trying to do more of a Don Pendleton, Mac Bolan, early 80s type of pulp book with this one. And I have a love for the Die Hard clone genre of movies. Die Hard 2, right. Cliffhanger, Speed. So this one is actually, if you would call it Die Hard on a bridge. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. So the first two books are my love of 80s pictures, and then this newest one is definitely my version of a Die Hard movie.
Well, if you get a Die Hard book out of it, you're doing well. Then, if you reach that, people will be. So, is Buzan's book a Christmas book or not?
Yeah, funny.
It's good for all seasons.
Yes, I'm making sure it's set not in Christmas.
So, obviously, you watch a lot of films, and what is the best book to movie adaptation you've ever seen?
Jaws.
Really? Okay. I've never seen Jaws, so I can't.
You've never seen Jaws? I can say this.
No. Anybody else can say what they want, Mike, but you can't say Jack. Okay?
You haven't seen Jaws?
No, I've never seen Jaws.
Have you read it?
My all-time favorite movie is Jaws.
Okay.
I've seen that like 4 or 5 times, Ro.
Yeah, but I've
seen it 4 or 5 times this month. Come on, those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, I know. I've never seen Jaws. Sorry. I only saw The Shining for the first time in the last year.
Never seen it.
Yeah, my son kept saying, "Oh, you've got to see this movie. It's really good." It's like, so we watched, and it was like, it's it was okay.
I'm one of those rare people that I just don't care for The Shining all that much. The movie.
It wasn't that great. It was okay. It was, I don't know. In 1976, I was what, 8, so no. Star Wars in 77, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that was my first movie in the theater, was Star Wars in 77.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, Jaws just like, okay, it's a big toothy fish. I don't know how exciting you can make that, right? It's like, stay out of the freaking water. How about that? Don't go on the boat.
No, that's true. Yeah. No, but it is a story about the characters. If you watch it for the characters, you're really going to like it.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch it one day, but there's so much other stuff I can watch.
Yeah, but they're not Jaws. Put
Jaws
right on top for me there.
Okay, so what's the worst adaptation you've ever made?
Give me a minute to circle back to that one. There's quite a few. A great adaptation that shouldn't be is actually First Blood, being that they changed so much of the source book. But it's actually a brilliant film just by itself, even though it deviates from David Morrell's novel.
Well, you expect a certain amount of deviation, right? So long as it's all kind of there, usually you kind of go, okay, they got to make some allowances for translating it from print to film.
But that's a pretty big divergent there, making him more heroic. In the book, he's more of a, he's pretty much the antagonist of the book if you read it, the Rambo character. So it's a pretty good jumping point.
I was a kid when I read it, so I remember reading it and saying, "Oh yeah, this is all right." And then I remember watching the movie, being very excited about it, and then waiting for him to die. When the colonel comes back in at the end, it's like, "Oh, he's going to shoot him now. He's going to shoot him now."
Yeah.
And then he didn't shoot him. It's like, what the hell,
So I will probably answer your question with World War Z. It's probably the worst adaptation for me, and I'll say that. And I enjoy the movie. I think the movie's entertaining. But the book is in my top 5 of all time, ever. It's just a brilliant, brilliant novel. And they didn't even touch it with the movie, didn't even try. I'm not usually a fan of this at all, but I think that would be ripe for a remake, and maybe on streaming where you could do it 10, 12, 15 episodes and do it right.
Right. Give it the time it needs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the redo of Harry Potter. If each year is a season, that'll be kind of interesting to see what they add into, because they're going to have to add to that, to see how much they add to it. But we rag on this show a lot about the Hobbit movies that should have been the Hobbit movie. And how much extraneous garbage they added into that. And still not a sighting of Tom Bombadil anywhere.
Which is the only good choice they made.
We would disagree.
Yeah, I never read any of her books, the Harry Potter series, before seeing the movie.
Oh, no?
Have
you read them since?
Yeah, I have. I enjoyed them a lot.
Yeah.
But it was fun on opening night, seeing it with a full crowd, and certain parts around us, the kids would like talk, and you're kind of irritated about stuff, And so after the movie, because I stayed through the credits, and after the movie, there was quite a few people there, and my mom had leaned over and just said, "Can I ask you, what was upsetting?" And they said, "Oh, they took out the dragon part, and they did this or this." So it was kind of fun seeing these young kids at that time. It's like, oh, one of my favorite parts of the book wasn't there. So I think those people are really going to enjoy the series, where it's done, everything's done.
Yeah. You were probably the only person in that theater who hadn't read the books.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. I had gotten the John Williams score a week before the movie came out, and I was enjoying the heck out of it. And I had to email a friend, and I said, "What is this? What's Quidditch?" Because my favorite track was the Quidditch match. I had no idea what this was. And she said, "Oh, it's just like a soccer game on brooms," which just did not sound entertaining to me at all. But the movies are fabulous. So I became a big fan. And after the first movie, I went and bought the books. They're
now,
great.
On a rewatch today, Do you think the movies still hold up?
I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think they're great entertainments. Yeah.
See, I guess I had a little bit of a problem because once they said that Chris Columbus was going to do it, I immediately kind of went, that's a shame. Just because I'm not a big Chris Columbus guy. I watch them now. It's just like the first couple, the first 2 or 3 movies are kind of cringy, and I think I just remember when it came out, it was also around the same time that the C.S. Lewis, the Narnia movie came out, right? I think the Narnia movie came out a couple years later.
They did. I mean, Lord of the Rings came out the same year as the first Harry Potter. So those were competing against each other. Yeah.
And the other ones are just so much better, I think, because they, like the Narnia ones, they went and found kids from acting schools, right? So they were actually trained as opposed to kids off the street who would like to be actors, who had to, spend the first 3 movies learning their craft. But, okay, that's just me, I guess.
But I tell you, those Harry Potter movies, you can't surround people with better actors than they did. Even though
absolutely.
The supporting cast is amazing.
And spot on casting, too. I mean, every character was just like, oh, that's the perfect person for this or that, and the most important character, Snape, was,
For sure.
Yeah.
Ask your question, Ro.
Who's the hero of the Harry Potter series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for me, it's Professor Snape.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. We ask this question quite a bit. We get a very wide variety of answers, everything from, Hermione and Neville and Dobby to whatever. Snape is one of the only ones we get, and not percentage-wise of people, it's not a huge percentage, but I think it's one of the only one that repeats with any regularity.
Unless I get to him first, and then I tell him to say Dumbledore just so we can set Ro off.
Again, that guy shouldn't be within 500 yards of the school. He really shouldn't. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So what's your process like, Dave? Are you a discovery writer, or do you plot everything out from your days as a screenwriter?
I'm a plotter, not a pantser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, everything is plotted out. Although, like I said, this first book was full of surprises as I was writing it with the research, and so I would pause on things and do research, and then the whole plot would change from there.
Oh yeah.
But I do need things mapped out. In fact, the first book I wrote the epilogue first. That's the very first thing I wrote. So that's how I knew exactly how it would end. I just had to get certain pieces moved around to do it. But I can't imagine just sitting there and not knowing where the book's going.
It's not as bad as you think. I think a lot of discovery writers, just like you had to write out the epilogue, they know where the book is going to end.
Yeah.
Right. They know who their main character is. They know and just like you said, you've just got to find your way from here to there. But I freely admit that I would love to be able to plot a book and write it. I think it would make the whole thing so much smoother and easier and faster. But here we sit. So,
well, there's stalactites that grow faster than I can write. So I think that's the hard part of being a plotter, or at least me. So, the first book took me 18 months, and the second book took me 15, and this one's around 10 months.
So does it help having a publisher to actually kind of prod you along? Because you said that you already have dates for when this next book is going to be released, and you're not finished it yet?
I haven't finished it. Yeah. The second book, actually, the release date was pushed back because I did not meet the deadline. I told them in advance I was having issues. And so luckily they were able to swap authors and move me 6 months up or back, excuse me.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely a pressure, but a good one. I'm very happy to have this kind of pressure.
Now, is this your like entire day job now, or do you have something else that you do to keep the roof?
No, I was in management for 30 years. I was a restaurant manager, manager of a pet store, theater manager. And so I had to step away from my job for other reasons temporarily. And now I'm, it's wonderful in this. We have the worst unemployment in Oregon in 50 years. So I found a great time to come back into trying to find a job right now. But but currently I am actively seeking a role right now.
Yeah, that's difficult, man. And it doesn't get any easier when you're, at a certain point. You go in, you're going up against like 25-year-olds or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my last interviews, there was like 5 of us, and he said there was 250 people that applied for this one position, and they picked 5 people to interview, and so it's like, oh yeah, no pressure at all there. But, but you just got to keep praying and applying and going to those interviews, and eventually I'll land something.
Yeah. I hear that. I just had one last week. I know what you're dealing with.
What is this interviewing thing you talk about?
What's that?
What is this interviewing thing? I haven't done that in 24 years.
Shut up.
It's amazing how nerve-wracking it is.
Oh,
yeah.
There's a reason why I haven't. So I'm like, no, I'm not doing that ever again.
And I was on all my jobs, I was the one doing the hiring and the interviewing, and so I always keep that in mind whenever I'm interviewing people. So I know how difficult it is.
So your next book, are you using the same cover artist, or are you going to kind of go in a different direction because it's not the same series?
Yeah, I don't get to vote on that, so I'm assuming I'm assuming they're going to use the same cover artist.
But you get like input into the cover?
I did on the first one because I was so unhappy. I ended up having a conversation with the owner of the publishing house, and I just said I'd rather go with the Spinal Tap cover, all black, than what we're doing. Just smell the glove cover, and let's just move on. I was actually looking, hire my own artist to do stuff. This is how awful it was. It was horrible. So we've moved past it. So now I'm excited to see what he's going to come up with.
Have you had any thought about just foregoing the publisher route and doing it all yourself?
For sure. My story is when I walked away from creative writing. I had just reached a point when I just decided I couldn't do it anymore. And I just had to sit down and have a long look in the mirror and just say, can I step away after 20 some years and just say, I've done everything I could. I had agents, I had the options. I just can't go through this anymore. And one of the final straws was my last agent calling me all excited saying, go look for your beach house. This is done. We've got this, right? And it didn't go through. It's just horrible, right? But then again, if I go back, I published my first story in 1989 when I was 17. And then in 2023, that's when my novel came out. So in between that, it's just a lot of road of creativity and a lot of successes and a lot of heartaches. When I came out of retirement, the reason why was around September of 2020 during the pandemic. I was general manager of an essential business at the time. We were always open. And we were dealing with the Oregon wildfires, worst wildfire season we'd had in decades. So there was this one particular Sunday, everyone had called out. I was running the shift alone and wearing the mask, not knowing about the future. Went outside, I could see the hills burning in the distance, no exaggeration. Didn't know if the wind would shift a certain way, it would come towards our home. My cousin had to be evacuated. It was all in that same weekend. And I just felt kind of ashamed that I'd walked away from writing at that time. And that's the day I decided I'm going to write a book. So I came home and told my wife that. So I just need to do this. It's like Rocky. I needed to go the distance. I just need to prove it to myself that I could do this. And I wanted a publisher. I knew I wasn't going to go, to Penguin and all that. I wasn't just going to go through that route again. So I was just trying to look for a small press that I could just submit to. So that was my path.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So did you have an idea what it was going to be at that time? Or you just said, I don't know what the book is going to be, but I know I need to do it?
I had no idea. And coincidentally, that article in the Oregonian I read was the following day.
All right.
So it was like, okay, that's the idea I'm looking for.
Here's your sign.
Yeah. So it just kind of fell in that way. I was like, yeah, this is a good one. Yeah. My wife was very supportive because when she married me, the writing was behind me at that point. And it's just like, okay, we're going to do this. And, very supportive, my parents as well, who'd always believed in me and wanted me to keep going. So, but dealing with a publisher was, certainly you have things in your head about things, how it's going to be, and it's not the case at all. You just think there's going to be this red carpet rolled out and the marketing, like they don't, I'm very, very honored to be published. So I'm not going there. I'm just saying you're almost like a bag of chips. It's like, this is the chip we're putting on the shelf this week, and then we're going to move on to other books. And, so.
The marketing aspect of it, though, do you find that they do a lot of that heavy lifting for you?
No, it's just not that way. I had an email blast that the book's coming out. It would just, and I don't want to sound ungrateful. I'm not going there. It's just something I had to learn on the fly and trial and error as I was going on, what to do, how to get a book out there, how to get interested eyes on it. And so the certain expectations that I had moving into the publishing world, it just wasn't the case, at least for me.
I think it'd be really good, though. I think a lot of indie authors, I think all indie authors would probably really benefit from having even a small press publisher just to learn from for a year or two, to do one or two books through something like that, especially if they were really open to engaging in a conversation with you where you could learn about some of what it is that they do on that end of things to then take over into the indie space. But I mean, I also think that most indie authors, quite honestly, if even a small press publisher came up and said, we want to publish your book, would probably throw themselves at them and say, yes, please. Just to, even if it's just, you're taking care of my cover, that's one more thing I don't have to worry about. Thank you very much.
Yes. And the audio part, I don't, they take care of that. And I know that's a huge issue with authors trying to get their books on audio.
It's a huge expense.
It is. So that, and not only that, but I got to pick my own narrator. So what they did is they gave my prologue and the first chapter to 5 different narrators, and they basically auditioned, they read it, and they sent me the clips, and then I got to pick which one I enjoyed.
Nice.
So about audiobooks, I just want to say that Jungle Planet will be out on audio first or second week of April. So just finished, all the chapters are done. I just had to listen to them, approve it, and it's out. So there you go, Ro. I got my book cover in.
Nice.
And Ro, I got to hijack this. Very funny. I have to hijack this because we cannot let Dave be on here and not have Jolan go into the Bald Dome, because I think this is entertaining. If you've read his book, then you know that we definitely need to have him there.
Okay, cool.
So would you like to describe it, or would you like me?
Yeah, you get your stuff ready and I'll describe it. Have you ever watched this show all the way through, Dave?
Not all the way through.
You and a million other people. So the Bald Dome is basically Mike's fever dream. You ever played D&D?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your character. You can pick any character you want, but I think Mike really wants your main character. And we're going to bring him into a world. Mike has some randomly generated worlds that ChatGPT helped him out with. And he's going to have a choice. He's going to be able to have an item or a weapon. a random item or weapon. If he chooses a random item, he will have an encounter with a natural creature. If he chooses a random weapon, he will have an encounter with a mythological fantasy creature. And he also has a potion in the D&D sense of the potion, except you got it at a bargain bin. It does not have a label. You do not know what it does, but it will work. Whether you drink it or if you throw it at someone else, it will work 100% of the time. You just don't know what it will do until you do it.
Okay.
So, with that being said, would you like a random item or a random weapon? Your character, what they'd like.
Jalon would always pick a weapon.
All right. Mike?
Alrighty. So I have to have my thing here for when I roll because I am historically bad at rolling. Like 8 and under is my ability. So no one believes me, so now we have to do the camera down over top of a certain book maybe. But so what happens is we'll say this is the scenario, go tell us what happens. And if you say something silly like, well, he's going to try to do this, is he successful? Then I have to roll to determine. If you say he does this and he is successful, then you can continue telling the story. So it's up to you what you want to do.
This is your chance to let your pantser fly,
So we always tell people we want to learn about your character, but we don't want spoilers. So this is the way that we do it. We put them in an alternate universe. And since we've had authors who will go to great lengths to make sure their main character lives, we're going to say up front, this is not canon. So, if you ever want to bring him back, you can't say, no, he died in that one stupid show I did. This is totally alternate universe.
Okay.
So,
this is not
good old.
This is real.
So he has. Well, we just had that last time. We're going to have to re-roll that one. We're not going to collapse Mineshaft again.
Okay.
Let's see. So now it's 7. So that is. He is in a desecrated graveyard. Uneven terrain, open graves, necromantic energy periodically animates fallen creatures. Because ChatGPT has got much less verbose since I last did this. So that's all you get. He has a potion. What is your favorite color?
Blue.
He has a blue fizzy potion. 100% will work. And you said he wanted a weapon, correct?
Yeah.
So he is here with a 7-foot-long spear. And he is there in the graveyard, watching how his hands are coming up out of the ground and all that fun stuff. And he looks, and lo and behold, he sees a minotaur. And the minotaur is looking back at him. And the minotaur has a double-headed axe, because I like those. So I'm throwing that in for fun. So they're about 40 feet apart. They're in the desecrated graveyard. The minotaur is looking at him and kind of snorting. Direct eye contact. He does not look happy. What does Jolon do?
Take off that red sash, first of all.
So what's the environment in this graveyard? Is there some trees nearby? Is there?
If you want there to be, there is.
Yeah, the more you take control, the less my dice rolls will screw your character over.
Can Jalon get some high ground in a tree?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't ask.
Let's have him do that.
Because if you ask him to roll for climbing a tree, he will fall down and break a leg.
At least an ankle.
I don't think I need a Shift X die roll for this one. Can he just go up a tree?
Sure.
Okay.
He's up a tree?
Yeah.
The Minotaur is what, like 8 feet tall?
I was going to say, what's he like at eye level with him now? How far up a tree are you going?
Probably to the nearest sturdy branch. So is that 10 feet?
Sure. Yeah. 10,
okay.
Sure.
He's 10 feet up. Okay. And the Minotaur is running at him, trying to hit him with the axe, right? Looking up.
He's at least approaching. I don't know if he's running, but...
You're up a tree. He doesn't need to run. He's in no hurry. And you're up a tree, and he has an axe. So, choppity chop.
How quick is he approaching?
A moderate saunter.
Okay. Can I have Jalon impale him through the eye with the spear as he gets close?
Well, you said can you, so that means we're going to have to roll.
Right. So are you going to wait until he's like right underneath you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're going to do like a kill the rabbit sort of?
I think so.
No.
Okay.
Now,
oh.
Are you going to throw it, or are you just going to jab down?
No, I'm going to jab it. He wants to hold on to the weapon because there's more people coming out of the graves, right?
Yep.
Yeah, occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of forget about the setting after a while unless we need it. So, you know.
Bring it up.
Yeah. Okay, Ro, what am I rolling to jab the Minotaur in the eye?
I mean, good. Well, are you aiming for the eye specifically?
I am. I want to push right through the brain.
If you're aiming for the eye specifically, 17.
1.
We did warn you, right? So
there's a reason why the camera is there, and it's not just so I can slide in my book.
His head, his horn hooks your spear and yanks it out of your hand, and you don't have it anymore. Okay. But you're still in the tree, so that's something.
So as the Minotaur is swinging his body around, Jalon will use that as almost a distraction to drop on to the back of his shoulders.
Really?
Yeah, you got to read the book, Ro. Jalon is all about action. This is why we have to do the bald dome.
That's exciting. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then he'll squeeze his legs around the Minotaur's neck, and then as Minotaur is grabbing onto his legs, he'll use both hands, put his fingers right into the Minotaur's eyes and blind him.
Okay. Mike, any double-digit number will let him gouge the Minotaur's eyes.
16.
Okay, excellent. Now
the Minotaur drops his axe, right?
The Minotaur won't be doing nothing at this time. The Minotaur is going to try to make a wishbone out of his legs.
Okay.
Okay.
They're pretty strong. They should be able to do that.
So the Minotaur is going to grab him and not go for his face because he's blinded.
Well, I'm assuming you're both doing it at the same time,
okay.
Right? So, 16 or better, Mike.
10.
Yeah, he can't get you. I mean, you're gouging his eyes as he's trying to do that. And okay, so you're up to your index knuckle in Minotaur eyeball gut.
Okay.
Which is super gross.
How about Winterhawk will twist his body around his shoulder, kind of fling him, kind of twist his body around on his shoulder, kind of fling him around to the ground, kind of a MMA move. He's on the shoulders, got his legs there. So he'll twist his body around, flip him down.
170-pound dude is going to do that.
My guy can take on hand-to-hand combat with a 10-foot, 1,000-pound Sasquatch. So,
all right, sure,
no worries. This is like Monday morning for him.
Okay. All right, excellent.
I have a question. Where is this potion at, by the way? Because he's using both hands and both legs, and so it's tied to his belt, I'm guessing.
I thought it would be like in a satchel attached to his waist.
Okay. I just want to know and to bring up that you have a potion in case you forgot.
All right, so Mike does the thing that he said he did.
Okay.
You've read the book, so okay. So he MMA like Marvel female character wraps his legs around the thing's neck and throws him over.
Right. The Minotaur's going to be off balance. He's blind. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it works.
Yep.
Now they're on the ground.
Nobody else can do it. My guy can do it.
Okay. Now they're on the ground.
Jalon grabs the fallen axe.
Okay. Mike, give me a roll. Don't roll a 1 to 5.
So 6 or better, you're saying?
6 or better.
Let's see. 6.
Okay. All right. Never mind. Carry on. So you do what now? What does your guy do?
Oh, he grabs the fallen axe.
The axe.
Yeah.
The double-headed Minotaur axe, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess you're going to have to roll. You're going to try to chop this thing. Are you aiming or are you just chopping?
He's going to go from the crotch up, cut him in half. Slice him in half.
On the ground.
He's going to roll to his feet.
Okay.
My guy's very agile.
13 or better, Mike.
15.
And that was quick.
That was very quick.
That was probably the quickest we've ever seen that, because I don't think we've ever had someone do this who was that aggressive.
Yeah. This is why we had to do the bald dome.
Instantly aggressive with whatever. There was no like, well, let's think about this or whatever. It's just like attack.
Yeah. Normally,
kind of actually.
My character is going to wait and see what they're going to do. And it's like, no. So, thank you. That is exactly what I expected.
What would the potion have done?
That was the potion of love.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. No matter who got it.
Right. That would have been, that would have been really bizarre. But we've done that before, so. All right, so there you go. You have survived the Bald Dome in record time, and with
maximum aggression.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Who says I can't be a pantser? That worked okay.
So that's the character in a nutshell, is it?
Pretty much.
He's that D&D character that you all try to say, no, let's sit back and shoot him with arrows, and he goes, nah, screw that.
Yeah. Both he and his daughter get into some pretty interesting scrapes like that. So they're fun to write, those action scenes.
Nice. That's awesome.
And I will say your book absolutely screams with action. I mean, you will not be disappointed. I always tell people in my books, you are not going to get 40 pages of character development, and you're not going to get 4 pages of yours of character. He's going to be, okay, and now the dynamite is about to explode.
Yeah.
All right. The Lair of Legends, that's book 1 of a duology.
That's right. Yeah.
And in the Wrath of Legends is book 2. So the whole series is right there.
That's right.
Go get it now. And don't forget to leave your review with the other hundreds of people who have left reviews. Well, Wrath of Legends is fairly new, right? That's only been out a few months?
Yes, 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Nice.
So it's only on like 50 reviews or something. So you got that.
Yeah, 52 and 30 something on Goodreads for it.
Okay. And the next book, which will be a different kind of thing with different characters, is in November.
Yeah, November 19th.
November 19th. All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Mike, didn't we have his website there?
We did. There it is.
So go on Amazon. He has paperback, hardback, and audiobook. And Dave, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was fun. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, and good luck to you. Hope everything works out well.
Thank you. You too.
And everybody else, thanks for joining us, for hanging out with us. If you haven't liked, click the little thumb up thing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that, because we are getting dangerously close to, 600 now?
Yep. 575 last time I looked.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're going to be banging on about that for a while. And Mike's going to grow hair if we get to 600.
No, he's not.
All right.
And we are next here on Wednesday for a Rose random writing prompt at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
7 p.m. Come join us. 30 minutes.
And then we will be with the one and only Saffron Asteria on next week.
When?
Next week, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Awesome. Good deal.
So this is a light week for us. Just one interview and one random writing prompt.
Okay, great.
Thanks again.
Okay. Everyone wave awkwardly while I hit end stream and we wave.